Hey everyone, and welcome to today's deep dive where we're going to be tackling a career that's absolutely exploding right now. Renewable Energy Sales Representative.
It's not just about selling a product, it's about selling the future.
Right, exactly. And we've been digging deep into RoleCatcher's career platform, checking out industry reports, and let me tell you, this field is seriously buzzing with potential.
Yeah, and what I think is super fascinating is that the renewable energy sector, it's on track to create over 40 million jobs globally by 2030.
40 million.
That's more than the entire fossil fuel industry as it stands today.
Wow, that's wild. Okay, so we're talking about massive growth here, but what does a renewable energy sales representative actually do?
Right.
Because it's got to be more than just like, I'm going door to door selling solar panels.
Yeah, you're right. It's way more than that. It's really more like a fusion of being a consultant, an educator,
Yeah.
and then also a negotiator all at the same time.
Okay.
So these are the folks who are really on the ground floor, on the front lines of the clean energy movement.
Mhm.
They're the ones who are assessing the needs of both individuals and businesses, and then they get to match them with the most fitting renewable solution, whether that's solar, wind, geothermal, you name it.
So like an energy detective finding the perfect solution for each client.
Exactly.
I love it, but let's be real for a second. Every job has its challenges.
Of course, yeah.
What does RoleCatcher have to say about the potential downsides or maybe the not so glamorous side of this career path?
Yeah, I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect job, right?
Right.
But in a field like this, be ready to hustle because it is competitive. You need really strong sales skills, and you've got to be prepared to travel to meet with those clients. And that travel, that can be a big one for some people.
Yeah.
You know, some people, they live for that, right? Being on the road, new faces, new places. But for others, it's not so much.
Right.
Definitely something to think about before you dive in.
Totally. It's like that old saying, one person's dream job is another person's nightmare commute, right?
That's a good one, yeah.
But okay, let's say they're up for the challenge, they're ready to hit the ground running. What does a typical day actually look like for a renewable energy sales representative?
Well, no 2 days are going to be exactly alike, which is part of what makes it so exciting, right?
Right.
But RoleCatcher, they do a nice job of sort of breaking down the typical tasks you might encounter at different stages of your career.
Right.
So at the entry level, you're mostly focusing on, learning the ropes, doing a lot of market research, identifying those potential clients.
Yeah.
You might even get to shadow some more seasoned sales reps, get some real world experience.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So kind of like an apprenticeship in a way, gaining experience and building that network at the same time.
Exactly.
What happens once you've got some experience under your belt, you've moved up a little bit? What's next?
Well, that's when things get really interesting because you could be independently assessing a client's energy needs. Maybe you're designing a custom solar panel system for their home, or maybe you're presenting a wind energy solution to a big corporation.
Wow.
It's all about taking that technical expertise, all that knowledge that you've built, and translating it into a really compelling sales pitch. Something that's really going to resonate with people.
Yeah, it's like you're not just a salesperson at that point. You're part tech guru, part storyteller, part closer.
Absolutely.
It's a lot. And speaking of technical expertise, RoleCatcher really seems to emphasize that you need to understand not just the sales side, but also the actual ins and outs of these different renewable energy technologies.
Oh, for sure. It's not enough to just believe in clean energy, right?
Right.
You have to be able to really explain how it all works, like, how efficient are these solar panels? What's the capacity of this wind turbine? Even things like the different battery storage options, You're constantly learning, always evolving, just like the technologies themselves.
Yeah.
That's honestly one of the most exciting parts, I think.
Yeah, it's almost like you're a translator in a way, taking all of this complex renewable energy stuff and making it make sense for, the everyday person.
Totally.
RoleCatcher also mentions this term that always throws me off a little bit, business acumen.
Yeah.
I don't know, it sounds kind of intimidating. What does that even mean in this context?
Yeah, no, don't let the jargon scare you off. It basically just means understanding the business side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just about selling a product. It's about understanding the market trends, what your competitors are up to, how to price things strategically, all those things that go into making a sale.
Yeah.
And ultimately making sure that your company is successful,
Okay, that makes more sense. So business acumen is basically knowing how to make renewable energy make sense financially, make it profitable for everyone involved.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Awesome. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the skills, the knowledge, the hustle, all of that. But what about actually landing a job in this field? Because we know it's competitive. This is where I think RoleCatcher really shines with those AI-powered job hunting tools. Have you had a chance to check those out at all?
I have. And honestly, I'm impressed. Like, their resume builder, it's fantastic. You know how much time it takes to tweak your resume for every single job you apply for?
Oh, yeah.
It's a nightmare. But RoleCatcher, they use AI to do a lot of that heavy lifting for you.
Oh, wow.
You just put in all your info, and then it helps you highlight the skills, the experience that's most relevant to each specific job description. It's amazing.
That's incredible. It's like having a personal resume writer on call 24/7.
Exactly. And that's not all. They also have this AI-powered interview prep tool. It's like a whole simulation of a real job interview.
Whoa.
Yeah, you can practice your answers, but then the AI will actually analyze your delivery, your body language, your tone of voice, everything. And then it gives you this like personalized feedback on how to improve. It's like having a personal coach, but, without having to actually hire one.
Okay, I have to admit that's really impressive.
Right.
But even with the best tools in the world, breaking into a new field, it can be intimidating, it can be daunting. What advice would you give to someone who's, just starting their journey in renewable energy sales? What's step one?
Network, network, network. This is an industry built on relationships.
Mm.
Go to those industry events, join professional organizations, connect with people on LinkedIn. You'll be amazed by the insights, the advice you can get from others who are already in the thick of it, who've been there, done that. And plus, you never know where a connection might lead, right?
Very true. Very true. Networking, check. But even with a solid network, it seems like this field, it has a pretty steep learning curve.
Yeah.
So how important is that, the ongoing learning, the continuous learning? What role does that play?
I would say it's not just important, it's essential. This industry, it's constantly evolving. New technologies are popping up all the time. New policies are being put into place. The market, it's always shifting. So you got to be a lifelong learner, always curious, always willing to learn new things, embrace new challenges.
So true. It's not just like a learn it once and you're done kind of career.
Not at all, no.
But that also means there's always something new to discover.
Exactly. And that's part of the excitement, that feeling of being on the cutting edge of something, of being a part of this massive global shift. That's what makes it so rewarding, I think.
It really does feel like you're part of this wave that's building, and you gotta keep learning and adapting to stay on top of it.
Exactly.
But here's something I'm curious about. What about people who maybe don't have like direct experience in renewable energy sales? Say someone who's coming from, I don't know, more of a traditional sales background. Can they use those skills? Can they leverage those skills in this field?
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of those core sales skills, they're totally transferable. Building relationships, really understanding what the client needs, putting together a persuasive presentation, those are valuable no matter what you're selling. It's really just a matter of kind of bridging that knowledge gap when it comes to the specifics of renewable energy and the technology.
Right. So it's like you take your existing sales superpowers and you give them like a green energy upgrade.
Exactly.
I like it. We've talked about networking, but are there other ways to kind of gain that specialized knowledge aside from, just becoming best friends with RoleCatcher's career guide?
Oh, totally. There are tons of resources out there. You've got online courses, certifications, even workshops that a lot of these renewable energy companies will put on themselves. And more universities are actually offering like specific degrees in sustainable business and clean energy technology. It's really about, going out there, getting your hands dirty,
Right.
showing that you're serious about building a career in this field.
Yeah, it sounds like passion and that willingness to learn, that goes a long way in this field.
It really does, because at the end of the day, it's not just a job, right?
Right.
It's about being a part of something bigger, this movement, this shift towards a more sustainable way of life. And that sense of purpose, I think, can be incredibly motivating for people.
I love that. Okay, we've covered so much ground today. We talked about what a renewable energy sales representative actually does, the day-to-day, the challenges, the rewards, the impact this career has on creating a greener future. It's been amazing. But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with with one final thought. We talked about skills, we talked about knowledge, but what about the you factor? What can you bring to this field? What's your unique value proposition?
That's such a good question. And it's so important because it's not just about like fitting yourself into some predetermined box, right?
Right.
It's about finding that role that really lights you up,
Yeah.
something where you can use your own unique talents and passions to make a real difference.
Yes. So to all our listeners out there, if you thrive in those fast-paced environments, if you're passionate about sustainability, if you want to be on the front lines of like a global energy revolution, this could be it. This could be the perfect fit for you.
Absolutely. And remember, resources like RoleCatcher, they're there to help you figure it all out, whether it's finding those job openings, making sure your resume is top-notch, practicing for those interviews. They've got all the tools and the insights to help you put your best foot forward.
Couldn't agree more. And of course, we'll link to everything we talked about down in the show notes. This has been an incredible deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Always fun to talk about a career with so much potential to change the world.
That's right. That's right. To all our listeners, until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.